Knew nothing about VAT, tax. I wanted to be a truck driver. You always need somebody to hold your feet to the fire and tell you when you've been a bit of a
I never set out to run a business. All I wanted to do was make films and television programmes. But a decade and a half later, I find myself leading a team, growing a company, and still asking myself, how on earth did I get here? That's why I created this podcast, for people like me who've had to push through doubts, insecurities, and barriers to build something great. Each episode, I'll sit down with founders and business leaders to talk openly about the mistakes, the wins, the imposter syndrome, and all the lessons we wish we'd known sooner. If you're trying to scale, grow a team, or simply feel less alone on the journey, this is your space for honest, unfiltered conversations about what it really takes to run a business. This is The Reluctant CEO. Welcome to the Reluctant CEO podcast. I'm Phil Arkinstall, the host of The Reluctant CEO. Today I'm joined by Peter Howard, who runs PhD Design, and he's been in business for a staggering 34 years. Peter, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
So could I start off, just ask you, 34 years is some achievement in business.
Yeah.
How did that all start?
It started through necessity.
Right.
I didn't plan to start a PhD, but it came out of a business partnership that I was in just before, which was superb and fantastic. And that came out of a redundancy up in Yorkshire. So shall I go back a little bit and give you the potted history?
Full story's great.
And I left Birmingham when I was 21. And I just needed to get out of Birmingham. So not for any particular important reason, but I needed to get away. So I got a job in Hull, moved up to Hull, didn't know anybody. And the first weird thing that happened was I walked into a cop shop to think, I need to find somewhere to live. And I didn't know anybody at all. So I went into this police station, this great big white-bearded, burly desk sergeant went, what can I help you with? And I went, I wonder if you know where there's a safe place to get like lodgings or somewhere to live. And he sort of like bunched up on his haunches and looked at me and said, do I look like an effing travel agent?
Right.
I went, no, but my logic was that if, let's say, a baby copper that's just straight out of college needs to get placed somewhere in the UK, surely they would keep a list of places that are okay, safe, etc.
Yeah.
And without further ado, he pulled out this piece of paper and went, there you go, so nobody's ever asked me for that.
Wow.
So I went to the first one, hey presto, I moved in. So I went there for a bit, got made redundant, came back, ended up joining an old bloke I knew from college in business, and we ran the business for 2-3 years, and we invented a product which I'll come on to later. Just remember the thing disc case, because that's mildly interesting.
Okay.
And then that fell apart, and out of that was Christmas '91, it all fell apart. I kind of thought, right, well, I need to do something, and I was good at doing the work, but if you put me in front of a customer, I would be sitting there crying, frothing at the knees. I was definitely a backroom boy doing it, and I loved doing it. But being out there and talking to people, that's not my comfort zone. So I kind of thought, well, I can do it, so I can get a job, or I can give it a go. Yeah. And if I'm brutally honest, I've been giving it a go ever since.
Excellent.
So it started out of necessity because my world fell apart, and I thought, well, I've got to just give it a try.
So was graphic design what you were doing back then?
Yeah, it was graphic design. It was called corporate identities then, before it became branding. And in those good old days, this is going to sound dreadful, before Mac,
right?
Before the internet, before mobile phones, and it's strange to think that there was a world that existed before that, because that's just kind of taken over. But graphic design, it was corporate identity, packaging for products, and literature, brochures, catalogues, direct mail, that kind of thing. So it was really those three pillars of things that I'd got experience at, and that's what started it. And the very first job I got was for a customer in Perry Bar. Yeah. And he's still a customer today.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So did that come out of a skill set that you had from a young age? Were you good at drawing, all that type of stuff? Where did it come from?
I was rubbish at school.
Okay.
I quite liked school. It wasn't horrible, but I wasn't very good at it. Yeah. And my mum and dad thought I was, I think, cleverer than I was, and they pushed me towards O-levels. This was in the time when you were in your third year senior, which I don't know what that is by today's sort of way of describing it, but I was sort of 12, 13.
Okay.
And you have to make what's called your options,
Yeah.
and you choose whether you go down the CSE route,
Yeah.
the precursor to GCSE,
Yeah. Sure.
or O level, which was the GCE.
Mhm.
And I kind of got told that I was clever enough for that one. Anyway, I failed everything. So I walked out of school, I think, with one O level, which was in technical drawing.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
So drawing things in 3D like an architect style, absolutely love it. And I love it today.
Yeah.
So then I managed to blag my way into college because I thought there's only two jobs I want to do. Sorry, I'll go back a bit. I was in the Boys Brigade when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And there was a TV program that was when I was a kid coming home from school, and it was called BJ and the Bear, and it was all about this truck driver in America and his mate who happened to be a chimp. I know it's ridiculous, but he had all these adventures all over the States in a great big rig with a big room in the back, and obviously it was in a studio that was ridiculously different to what the reality is. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a truck driver, long distance truck driver. So my dad knew a long-distance truck driver, and he made an appointment, or he made a meeting happen by chance at the back of the church on one of the times I was down there. And within an hour of talking to this bloke who really was a long-distance truck driver, I didn't want that anymore.
Right.
He kind of destroyed all those myths. So really all that was left was to do drawing, because that was pretty much all I was any good at.
Right.
So I blagged away into college, because you didn't really have to do a lot to get into college then, if I'm honest. But I went to Sutton College, and I think it was the first BTEC diploma in the country.
Right. Okay.
And this was in something called GVD, which stood for General Vocational Design.
Okay.
And I learned in those 2 years how to drink. That's about it, really.
Right. Okay.
So it was a bit of a waste of time. But I ended up spending quite a lot of my break times and periods in the afternoon when there's no lessons to do, just sitting at the back of the graphic design course, because I knew by that time that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
And the lecturer, a guy named Mike Beaumont, he kind of just let me sit at the back. He said, "Yeah, just don't take part." And I did that for about a year. And then when I finished the second year of the GVD course, they said, "Right, we'll credit you with a year of doing the graphics, because you've actually probably paid more attention than some of the ones that are on the course.
Okay.
So we'll credit you with a year, so come and join this." So I started that effectively in my third year at college, and I did 3 months, I think, before I got a placement.
Right.
And I never looked back. So I've never been back to get my BTEC.
Oh, right.
I went to...
So I just got the one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an incredible journey, and maybe is that a sign of the opportunities that were there at the time? Like, you didn't need to get all your GCSEs, your A levels, your degree, and all that, but you obviously had an idea of something you were good at, and then you just applied that.
Yeah, I suppose it's just belief.
Yeah,
belief that I could do it.
Yeah,
and all I need to do is to demonstrate to people that I could do it. Because I'm not particularly academic, I think I don't hold much store in people that have to go to university. There are certain professions, of course, like an architect or a solicitor or an accountant or things like that. I think that's crucial that they get specialist degrees, etc. But when it comes to the industry like that you're in and what I'm in, my opinion, whether that be right or wrong, is that qualifications just don't matter. It's whether you've got the guts to do it, the balls to put yourself forward to make a mistake. The courage to go, do you know what? I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that, but I'll have a bloody good go.
Absolutely.
And then you find a way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that determination is probably where I'm different to people that were on the courses that I was at college, because I think there's one other that I know of that's doing graphic design.
Right.
That's it.
And I think what's interesting is certainly when I was growing up, I was probably, sounds like a lot more academic than yourself. I went to grammar school, went to university, got my degree. I think
what was that in
media production.
Okay,
so it's relevant. I straddled that period of time where it was going from free university to actually paying.
Yeah, because it used to be, didn't it?
It used to be, yeah. And so I was in that middle gap. So my student loan, although there was one, wasn't what it would be today. And I think what's always been an observation we've had in art media is that, it is all about drive. It is all about going above and beyond. When we're interviewing people, it's very rarely we're looking for first-class honours degrees or anything like that. We're very much looking at the person.
Yeah.
A good example is when what we found is where if someone wants to be a video editor, they've actually got their own YouTube channel. They've a guy, one of our team, has actually when he was applying for the job, he'd made a stop motion video of little Lego figures as Spider-Man Lego figures, doing all sorts of Spider-Man-y type stuff. But the effort and energy and the passion that had gone in,
It shows he wants to do it.
it showed he wanted to do it, and it far outweighed, having a first-class honours degree or anything like that. And he will go far because of that passion for what he does.
Weirdly enough, because we took on a designer 4 years, I think it's 4 years ago now. And when he came to the interview, we whittled him down through whatever means it was. I can't remember what it was then. But anyway, he came to the interview. And I remember before we really kicked off the interview, he kind of took control of it by saying, just want to make a little announcement, so to speak, that if you need a degree or, that level of qualification to get this job, I might as well walk now because I haven't got it.
That's honest. Yeah.
And as soon as I recognised that, I thought, this guy's got balls.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that attitude, that sort of upfront honesty.
Yeah.
And he's now a core member of the team. He's a tip-top chap.
Yeah.
Really tip-top chap.
Absolutely. But again, we don't want to put any viewers off.
No, absolutely not. No,
It's just, it is proof that,
the other
personality.
one of the other senior designers at our place, the creative director, Neil, he's got a degree.
Yeah.
And he's incredibly intelligent,
Yeah.
but very articulate. And that degree has done him wonders.
Absolutely.
So absolutely, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But it works for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah. So you've set your business up. You've been up in Hull. You've then back in Birmingham.
I got made redundant in Hull, so came back.
So came back to Birmingham. So you got your first client in Perry Bar.
Well, I worked for an advertising agency before that, so I came back and I went to find an old mate from college. Went down to his mum and dad's house, and they said he's started up a signage business. Here's the address. It was on Highbridge Road. So I went and knocked on the door, and it was the other guy that I ended up going into business with who answered the door. So purely by chance, really.
Yeah.
And at that time, I thought I need to go and get a proper job, a grown-up job. So I applied for some jobs down here, and it was at the time where advertising agencies per se, normally the bigger ones, were starting at what they would call their below-the-line agency.
Right.
So they do the above-the-line stuff, we do the below-the-line stuff. So it's all the packaging design, the branding design, the literature, after the initial contact with the general public is done. So it was quite cool then for ad agencies to start up their own division. And some of them called them completely different things, but it enabled them to do the full package of work for a client as opposed to just the above-the-line.
Okay.
And an advertising agency were looking for somebody who had got that experience, and I had.
Yeah.
And I'd got something that was quite unique at the time, which was this is going to sound weird, but I'd got a V1 license to drive a Quantel paint box.
Right, okay.
Do you know what a Quantel paint box is?
No.
See, a Mac now, your average Mac would probably blow the doors off a Quantel paint box of the time, but they were the absolute nuts. Television companies used to use them.
I think I remember one from when I was at Central TV onwards.
That's it. They would have had one. Yeah.
All the graphics.
Weirdly enough, we dry hired that one at Central Studios. Yeah, where you need a big room at the back. That's like a fridge just to keep everything cold.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got one of those.
So that was the license to
use it.
To use it.
Yeah.
It made it sound like a vehicle.
No. It's that's what it was.
Amazing. So you actually had to have a license.
I had to use heads, all those years ago, because it's a really expensive bit of really expensive. So I got the position there, and that was effectively me and one other guy fronting the company up.
Yeah,
and he was more front of house.
Yeah,
I was more back of house doing it, and we did some great stuff for Jaguar Land Rover and lots of automotive clients.
Yeah.
One particular thing that was just. I remember it specifically was one weekend. They needed a couple of photos of a Range Rover for a calendar.
Yeah.
And they basically said to me, right, can you disappear this weekend?
Right.
Here's a photographer.
Right.
Here's the keys to a Land Rover, a Range Rover, top of the range, all spanked up, all beautifully clean.
Yeah.
And here's a credit card. Disappear.
Right.
And come back with 2 shots. And I'm like, yeah. So we had a good weekend.
Yeah.
We got 2 great shots.
Yeah.
But we had a good weekend.
Were they in with a particular background, like by the sea?
It was we went to North Wales,
North
so it was kind of like rural,
Or-
where a Land Rover should be
Yes.
photographed, isn't it? Right, in the hills, etc.
Yeah.
But that was a nice weekend.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So at this stage, then you're very much on the tools, back
Yeah.
of everything. So you would you have been the person dealing with Jaguar directly, or is that your
No.
partner?
No.
Yeah. So how did that that change come about to being like the
I think it was just literally the necessity.
right?
So in December '91, the world metaphorically fell apart for me. And I licked my wounds over Christmas, got angry, went out, got drunk a lot, went out with my old mates I used to play Sunday League football team with.
Yeah.
And by about early Jan, mid-Jan, I thought, oh, that's enough of that. I need to grow up and recognise the situation.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, why not give it a go? Because effectively, coming to that mental junction,
Yeah.
I'd got PG debts and quite a lot.
Right.
Broadly the equivalent of a couple of houses
Oh,
in today's
right, okay.
time.
Wow.
And I hadn't got the proverbial pot to piss in.
No.
It's an interesting story where that phrase comes from as well.
Okay.
I'll tell you that later.
Yeah.
So I got this left or right turn to make, left, go and get a job,
Yeah.
and I would probably be paying that off forever.
Right.
Probably still be paying it off now.
Right.
Or right and give it a go, because I knew the job. I just was uncomfortable going and talking to people.
Right.
And doing a quote. I'd never done a quote before.
Right.
Didn't know how to.
Yeah.
Knew nothing about VAT, tax,
Yeah.
absolutely
Nothing.
nothing. But I thought, my brain was saying, well, give it a try. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You've got nothing now. So if you absolutely cock it up, you're back to where you are now.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll just give that a try, because at worst I can go and get a job.
Yeah.
And thankfully I've never had to do that. So, and I think it took 6 years, I think, to pay things off, which was great, really. Really good. So it was necessity, really. So I kind of forced myself to go on to a couple of courses as to how to write a proposal, what tax was, the guide to tax. Found myself a bookkeeper, and just learned, set brain to absorb mode and talk to lots of people, ask lots of questions.
Yeah.
I still do that now. Ask loads of questions.
So I think what I've always found interesting in my career, because I started out working in TV, I became a video editor, did that for 5 or 6 years, but always had this thing that I wanted to run my own business. And then when the credit crunch hit, so it's 2008 now, it was the right time, because the TV market had shrunk. There wasn't as much demand in the Midlands to make content, so it was a case of, okay, well, what can I do? So we set up ARC, very similar in the same way as what you're saying there. Didn't have a clue about any of the different threads of business, if you like, but I guess it's that the skill of being, in your case, like a graphic designer, in my case a video editor, versus everything else that was required to run in a business.
Yeah, because it's a doddle, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's where it becomes interesting. Are you the person that's about that one skill and you only can do that one skill, or are you a generalist that is a part of that's one of your strings in your bow? So
wow, you've opened up a right can of worms there.
But I think that's what a lot of people getting into business, they sometimes perhaps don't even know that, because they've got something that they're good at. Maybe it's, I don't know, making cakes. Maybe they're just good with numbers, so they can do accountancy or something. But actually, all that wide berth of what you actually need to actually run a business, and all the skills and the pitfalls and the risk and all that sort of stuff, I don't think that is a job description that is born to people. It's like you have to have that interest in a certain thing first, but then that becomes a necessity. I always equate it, because my wife's in education, and when you get into education, you usually get into it because you love working with children and you want to see children progress, so you become a teacher. When you become a head teacher, you're not actually working with the kids anymore. It as directly, yes, there's still a connection, but it's like you're talking on a bigger scale. You're dealing with 700 kids on a light touch, rather than day to day being in the classroom with them. And I think that's the same sort of scenario. It's like getting to do one thing, and then it morphs into something else.
Grows, absolutely.
So once you'd started learning about tax, learning about how to run a business, write proposals and meeting customers, etc. Was there a point where that swayed to that was your skill set and the graphic design became secondary to that?
For the first few years, no, I was doing everything. I had to do everything.
Yeah.
And like any business, when you first start, you haven't got any money.
No.
You're working stupid hours.
Yeah.
You're doing jobs for nowhere near the kind of money that you know it's worth, but you're doing it to get in.
Yeah.
I mean, my first job, going back a long time, I remember I got paid something like £6 a week.
Yeah.
And it cost me like £6.50 or something like that. It cost me more in bus fare to get there.
Yeah.
But I knew that getting in, once you're in, it's easier to move around.
Yeah, sure.
But you take any work and you do the best you can. So you're building your reputation. So the first few years, they are definitely lean times. And you get the odd great job. And then you get something that spins off that and something that spins off that. So for quite a while, I was pretty much doing everything.
Right.
And then I took on somebody, a lady named Liz. She was the first person I ever employed. And then it slowly grew. And then I took on a guy named Jeff. And he was with me for a long time, about 10 years. But there is a point where you think my skills are not best doing that.
Yeah.
And you become, I think you alluded to it, become the generalist.
Yeah.
So you become the bit of a jack of all trades, but you're master of none.
Yeah.
So there certainly was for me, there was a period that it wasn't forced upon me, but it was an opportunity.
Right.
There was the software that we used. I'm going back, I don't know, probably a decade now. Used to be called, the major software we used was Macromedia Freehand.
Right.
And that was the software that created vector graphics.
Yeah.
And that was the one, I knew that thing inside out, I could fly that with my eyes shut.
Yes. Yeah.
Photoshop, I was pretty handy on, and Quark Express, I was pretty handy on, but mainly freehand.
Yeah.
When Adobe bought Macromedia,
Right.
And possibly just to kill them so that they could get Illustrator in to do it, that was the moment I took the decision to go, right, I'm not going to learn Illustrator.
Yes. Yeah.
My place within the business is now firmly doing different stuff.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's
losing the control of being able to dig it out of a hole, sort of thing.
It was, because I knew that, let's say, if something had happened at 10 o'clock at night,
you could fix it.
I could redo it and have it ready.
Yeah.
Whereas from pretty much that point onwards, I was reliant on other people in the team. And I've got great people around me, which is another thing that somebody taught me many, many, many years ago. I met this guy called John Goodman. I'm not sure if he's around anymore now, but he was a little bloke, and I met him at a networking thing. This was before I'd started PhD, so this is going back a long time. And he was just one of those lovely old men that had been around the block. He'd done it. He'd been there. He'd got the T-shirt. He probably made the T-shirt. And he was just a wise person to talk to. Yeah. And sitting and chatting to him about loads of things, he helped me enormously. He pointed me in the right direction, but he never told me what to do. He just gave me opportunities, gave me scenarios, and said, well, what do you think you should do with this and that and the other? And that helped me enormously. So having that person there, an old, wise person who has got nothing to gain, I never paid him anything, but he was just a kind person, that was a brilliant help for me. Yeah, it was. And there's not enough people like that out there doing that.
But I think that mentor sort of person is so important. And I think something I've always been keen on in my career is learn from people who are further down the track than you, or they've been and done it and they've stopped doing it
and made theirs
and made all the mistakes and learn from their mistakes as well. So I've got a business coach who I see once a month. We just, a lot of the time it's just to go right that really, and just talking and like discussing things through, because you only need to come away with one or two little bits of information or slight change of perspective, and actually applying that to your business, it can really make a difference quite quickly.
Somebody told me ages ago about why people should have a coach or a mentor, and the scenario they gave me was just, it's so simple but perfect, because I'm not really that good at loads of complicated explanations. It needs to be caught short and punchy. Right. But if you look at, let's say, professional golfers, or a professional 100-meter runner, or a professional darts player, I mean, whatever it is, somebody who's right at the top of what they do. I'm just picking sports just for the hell of it. they've all got a coach.
Yeah.
They've all got somebody
Yeah.
who pushes them and challenges them and doesn't become the one who just says yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir.
Yeah.
You always need somebody to hold your feet to the fire.
Definitely.
And tell you when you're being a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
Because we all are at some time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So people is a massive part of business. And so you've now brought on your first employee. So how did that go from there? How was the people?
Absolutely fine. She was a lovely lady, but it didn't last that long. Not through any badness or anything like that. I don't know whether it was a transitory role that she wanted or something like that, but it lasted a while. If I'm brutally honest, I don't know whether it was 6 months, a year. I really don't know. But it all ended fine, no problem. She left. She went for a different position. And I think it was possibly because she needed to get more money. And if you go to a bigger agency, you get more money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, in a way, that if anybody thinking of starting off in this industry, am I the media industry? It's my own opinion is it's important to work for smaller agencies because you get a real good feel of everything that's involved.
Absolutely.
If you work for a big agency, then you'll do that much of a job.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to put on your CV that you work for Jaguar Land Rover, Coca-Cola, McVitie's, whoever it is. But what nobody else will know is that you put the full stops on all the adverts, and it's tedious, it's boring.
Yeah.
Money's good, but you don't get creative fulfillment, whereas you do within a smaller agency.
Sure.
So she left, and then I took on a guy who I think he was probably one of the best employees that I've had.
Right.
And he was in there for 10 years. So that one was really right. At that time, it was the right decision. And I was scared because you just don't know if it's going to work, because you've got to put time and effort and trust in those people, because they're the ones who are creating stuff that's got your name tattooed to it. And it wasn't a mistake, Turned out later that it didn't end particularly well, but that was a long time down the path. So for a lot of years, it was fab, absolutely superb.
I think the thing I've found with employing people is it's like a relationship with a girlfriend or whoever. It's like there's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
The beginning is usually great. You do a recruitment process. They're great. You get on really well, and everyone's happy. The middle, it can be short. It can be extremely long. It can be the whole length of your career, or it could just be a couple of weeks. But the end of the relationships, and that's where I've always found it interesting over the years. We've had
Interesting.
Well, interesting to look back at it. Yeah, I wouldn't call it interesting at the time because some of it's quite horrible to deal with.
Yeah.
Sometimes you outgrow somebody within your business. Like when you're at one stage, you need that person, but actually 5 years down the line, the company's changed and maybe they haven't.
Yeah.
We've had a few examples of that over the years. I mean, how have you got on with that sort of ending of the story with certain people?
I suppose we haven't actually had to part company with a lot of people in all that time. But I think the one that sticks out in my mind was a guy we took on. Obviously, I won't name his name.
Yeah, that's fine.
A guy we took on who's possibly still working in the industry. And anyway, he went off ill for a while. He was a salesperson. He went off ill for a while, and something in my spidey sense told me that something wasn't right.
Yes.
And I can't pin down what it was, but it was just a feeling.
Yeah.
So I rang a medical person that I know who happens to be a specialist in this particular area.
Okay.
And he said, no, it should be this amount of time that they're off with, not that amount of time. And we're already at that. I'm thinking, so something is right. And I got a tip off. About an interview he was going for.
Right. Okay.
And I dispatched what I now lovingly call Streatley's finest detective agency, which is my mum and dad.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so I got the tip off. I knew the location. It was like a spy film.
Yeah.
And I sent my mum and dad off to say, can you get photographic evidence of him there?
Right.
And they did, and they loved it. It was a fantastic day out for them. They got the old sunglasses on and sat in a cafe bar opposite, news camera under a newspaper. I mean, it's laughable, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, they did, and they got the evidence that I needed.
So what, is he working elsewhere? Or
He was going for an interview
okay.
at another place,
Right.
but claiming the fact that he was not using the car and he couldn't walk and this, that, and the other.
Right.
So and he could.
Right.
So bang to rights, basically.
Yes.
You know. So, but I look back on that one and it's quite comedic, really. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's gone on to do great things, and I feel no ill will to him now. At the time, I did, but I don't feel any ill will to him at all. You know, if you're doing fantastic, brilliant, good for you.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's obviously the dark side.
It's the negative part
of employees. Have you got somebody or a few people that you've brought through to allow the business to level up? Because within ARC, like what's happened over the last 5 years is certain team members have grown year on year. So Graham being a good example, he's now a director of the business. He's now bought some shares in the business, and then other people have started to level up as well. So they can run the day-to-day operation
absolutely
as well. Have you got that?
Yeah. There's a guy named Neil Sargent. He's my co-director, and in 2012, we basically had a good old sit down and thought about the long term, the future.
Yeah.
You know, what does he want out of the future? What do I want out of the future? And we came to an agreement where he bought a certain amount of shares per year for an amount of time. And, you know, we are now the same, effectively.
Right,
and there's also a longer term trajectory.
Yeah.
So, you know, because I'm grey,
he's not
and he's do you know what? He went grey quite young.
Yeah, he went grey was like you're in the business.
Yeah, probably. But the good thing is that I think he's very modest. He's better than me at pretty much everything.
Right.
But I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to surround myself with people who are better than me, because I don't really have any ego issues about that one. You know, if someone's better than me, brilliant, they are.
Yeah.
End of.
Yeah.
And just carry on doing it. If you love doing it, just do it.
Yeah.
So I've managed to somehow gather people who are good at what they do, who don't care about ego.
Yeah.
And we're also really honest and open with each other. So if somebody's done something stupid, they get told pretty quickly.
That's good.
You know, and political correctness doesn't work in our place either. No.
So, I mean, one of the things that's really interesting in your journey is there's a lot of evolution of you as a person in there, from not doing so well at school and college, to finding yourself up in Hull, literally asking for somewhere to live at a police station, to you know, lots of like you had that sort of crisis that you mentioned as well, and digging yourself out of
there's been a few of those,
a debt gap. You've obviously got great resilience. How do you define that? Is that just, again, is it just necessity? Is it just survival?
I think it's a combination of factors. Necessity is one, because, you know, you've got to put food on the table. You've got to be able to provide money, you know, every month. And in all of the time of PhD, I've never not been paid by the business. So sometimes it's not been brilliant, but I've never not been paid, because, you know, everybody has responsibilities. You know, you've got mortgages, you've got family, you've got people that need you. So you need to be able to provide. And thankfully that's happened. But I've got a great support network inside and outside of work. You know, I've got really good mates. So there's been times where, you know, you struggle mentally. You know, and I've got a really good set of buddies to chat to. And they don't, I mean, I'll take the mick, because that's what blokes do, isn't it? But there's care in there as well. You know, if we know someone's struggling a bit, everybody pulls together.
So it's just brilliant. It's like mates within the sort of crowd there, or are those just any different?
None of them understand what I do.
Right. Okay.
They all think I do colouring in. And that's it. And I've tried explaining it, and it's not working.
Colouring in.
Colouring in, tracing in the lines. Yeah, that's what we do. No problem. But equally, one of those works in computers.
Right.
And that's all I need to know about it. Yeah, you work in computers. And they try explaining. You go, I'm not that interested, really. No. No. It's like my wife says sometimes when I go and see the lads on a Thursday, give the chaps my love. Go, yeah, of course I will. Huh? Like, what blokes are going to do that?
Yeah.
And she might say, well, how's Simon? And I go, I don't know.
Yeah. And my wife does that to me all the time. Have you asked him about this? I'm like, no.
Well, you went for a beer with him last night.
That's the first thing you should have asked. I'm like, is it?
Really?
Not to me.
Men and women, we're just
Yeah,
different, aren't we?
yeah,
We're just different.
absolutely.
Different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So again, like you've got that resilience in you, obviously, and you've got a support network. But have you ever suffered with imposter syndrome? Have you ever been in like a meeting with a client where you're thinking, "Blimey, why am I in this room?" All the time, like JLR. I mean, they're obviously
All the time.
profile. But like, how do you deal with that?
I don't know.
You don't.
I wish I knew the answer,
Right.
but I have absolutely had that on many occasions.
Mm.
Even in the last 6 months, I've had it. I think every business owner probably gets it at times because you have to put yourself into situations that you don't really know how to solve it,
Mm.
but you've got the inner courage, you've got the inner knowledge to think, well, I don't actually care what it is. I know I'll find a way.
Yeah.
Or if I can't find a way, I'll ask people and
Yeah.
we'll find a way together.
Yeah.
So it's that inbuilt sort of, I suppose, resilience there, knowing that I can solve it. But at the time, when you're in front of 5 or 6 people or 20 people or 50 people,
Yeah.
you get up there and you think, they might know more than I do.
Yeah.
What happens if they ask a question and I should know the answer, but I don't?
Mhm.
Am I going to look at it? And there's all that sort of concern and worry. I mean, I'm doing a presentation in next month to probably about 50, 60 people.
Right.
And I know what I'm going to do, and I've already practiced it, and I've written it, and I've practiced it, and I know that. However, I will be, and you'll probably chop this out, I'll be shaking like a shitting dog when I'm about to get up there and start talking. I just know it. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
A bit of outside your comfort zone helps you deal with it the next time.
Yeah.
So it teaches you. I mean, we know if there's some psychology about some part of your brain called the ACC. It's somewhere in here, where if you get out of your comfort zone, this is like a muscle and it grows. And this teaches you how to be more resilient and how to deal with situations that you had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
So oddly, the more you put yourself in those situations, the better you get at it.
Yeah, I
Practice.
I mean, I agree with that. I went to a grammar school, boys' school.
Yeah.
I was completely shy, and I now think back to who I was then, compared to stood on the stage delivering the president's speech at the Chamber of Commerce, thinking, "How the hell am I doing this?"
And how did this happen that I'm here?
Happened.
Where did this chain come from?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reality there is exactly what you say. I think the metaphor I always use, it's a bit like climbing up a ladder with that sort of confidence. It's like you can get up it and you know easier how to scale it. But I think sometimes one of the things I still suffer with a little bit is when you don't do enough of it, you start to go back down the ladder a little bit.
I agree.
And you have to top it up. It's like a muscle, isn't it, that you have to top up. But
Yeah.
I still know that I could easily give a speech in front of 1,000 people if I prepared for it. But because I haven't done it like in the last, say, month or so, I'm a little bit further down the confidence ladder than I would have been when I was at my peak.
Because confidence is so important. I mean, it really is. There's times where you will have done this, no doubt. I don't know when, but at some point in your journey of art media, you'll have pulled up on the car park, wherever your office is or was, and you'll be sitting in the car going, right, I've got to put the mask on now.
Yeah.
You've got some staff inside the building. I'm putting the mask on, but inside you are in utter turmoil.
Yeah.
But you've got to put it on for the sake of everybody because you're the leader.
Absolutely.
And you have to be the one that people look to for the answers.
Yeah.
Even though you don't know what the answers are, you've got to almost pretend. And then there's other days where you absolutely have got it. You're 6'6" and bulletproof.
Absolutely.
When you've just nailed 2 deals, and all of a sudden you think, okay, I've done that.
Yeah.
And you then, it's like you're boosted up, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I had it last night.
Okay.
We got a deal last night. And the first thing I did was I shared it. I texted Neil and said, we've got that one. Because I wanted to share that one.
Yeah.
And that all of a sudden it makes you go, yes, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And then that reminds you of your place within the business.
Yeah.
And I still have to be reminded of my place because I see, I'm still part of the creative department, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I can't finish stuff now.
Right.
And it's a difficult thing to accept, but I know that if I come up with an idea for something and scribble it out, because I still draw ideas, and I do that in front of customers.
Right. Yeah.
And they look at me sometimes thinking, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah.
But then they see it and they go, shit, you can draw?
Yeah.
And that explains the idea.
Yeah.
But I can do that, and I can then articulate that to the guys in the studio, and then they can make that look brilliant.
That's good.
They can make it look absolutely amazing, better than I could make it look.
Yeah.
So I can do a bit at the start, but I can't do the full job anymore.
Yeah.
Weird enough, here's a little thing. Years ago, I used to have a bit of a principle. It's kind of abated now,
Right.
where if you, let's say you'd come for a job as a designer, the first 6 weeks of employment, it would be, you're not getting a Mac.
Okay.
And you'd be going, what?
Right. Okay.
How can I do the job?
Yeah.
So if you can't do it by drawing it and coming up with ideas and articulating it and talking about it,
Yeah.
and talking about it internally, not in front of customers,
Yeah.
just to people with passion in your eyes,
Yeah.
so that you're making people see how excited you are about it, and you draw it and you answer questions about it, and you've got that idea that stands up to scrutiny. If you can't do that without a piece of electronic equipment, you ain't good enough.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
people hated me for it, but there's one guy, Gareth, he worked for me. He was fresh out of university, and I've told him this many times. The reason he got the job, because it was between 1 and 2, is I went home and I spoke to my wife, who's a fantastic judge of character.
Right.
Apart from one mistake she made, but apart from that, she's a brilliant judge of character, and she said that you need to employ this chap because what he wanted to do was to get a great job so that he could help his nan go on holiday.
Okay.
So she's going, that's the one you want.
Yeah.
And it was the right decision.
Yeah.
And he hated that.
Right.
He hated not having the equipment.
Right. Yeah.
But, we're still in touch now. He lives down in Salisbury.
Who's this Gareth Roberts?
Gareth Roberts. Yeah, Gareth Roberts.
Yeah.
And he's one of life's lovely people.
He's a nice
you chop him in half and niceness oozes out.
Yeah.
He's just a nice guy and a trustworthy person.
Yeah.
And I've recommended him for a job not that long ago.
Great.
And that was a better fit for him.
Yes.
And I would always do that.
That's good.
And thankfully, I've got quite a few people who've been through PhD that I would still regard as friends and still love to have a pint with.
Yeah.
There's one guy who came from Leeds University on a work placement.
Right.
Lasted for about a year.
Yeah.
And he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's gone on, he works at McCann's, I think, now. He's gone on to a fantastic career.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just lovely to know that you've been part of their journey.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things. It's like when you're developing people, is it like a policy of like just making your own business survive, or are you actually trying to build the person up as well? And I think we've always been proud that most people, perhaps 95%, who leave are better than when they arrived, and considerably as well.
I'd like to think that.
Yeah. And I think that's a good lesson for business.
And I think we give people the opportunities to do any part of the business, really, any part of the job. We're very much an open book of a business. That's because I am. I'm crap at lying.
Yeah.
You might as well stick a big neon sign above my head going, you're lying now.
Yeah.
So just tell the truth.
Yeah.
And if everybody tells the truth, life is so much easier. And if you're a bit more nice, the only person at PhD is the one who gets the most stressed is me.
Right.
And everybody else is fairly chilled, really. I'm the one who's up and down.
Yeah.
But I think that's just in my DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just mentioned there, like you carry the stress of the business still.
Yeah.
Is that something that is just ingrained into your DNA, or is there a way of like almost? You also said that like you still live the thrill of the chase. Like you won a job yesterday, and you still get buzzed by the win. I mean, do you sort of have that structure where you can be detached from it? So say you go on like holiday, is the phone still going, or have you got a process and enough people to sort of take the edge off?
I get told when I go on holiday, don't look at your emails, don't answer the phone.
I bet you do that.
And most of the time I try very hard.
Yeah.
But no, I've got a fantastic team of people.
Yeah.
And when I go on holiday, I don't really get involved.
Okay.
It's and the key thing is it's a mental switch for me. If I go on holiday, let's say we go abroad somewhere, if it's absolutely gone Pete Tong properly, why should I know?
Yeah.
What good is it? What good is it to ruin the last 10 days or week or 2 hours? Why does it matter? Because there's nothing I can do if I'm 1,000 miles away.
No.
So earlier this year, we had, I think I had my longest period away from the business in all that 34
How
years.
was that?
5 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We went to New Zealand, and
Fantastic.
I didn't worry about it at all.
That's good.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because having a great bunch of people that give a monkeys as much as you do is wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, it is. I feel very lucky, really. And
in a way, you create that look by building the team and recruiting the right people around you, don't you? So it's not
still feel
completely, but it's but it's I suppose, is it a conscious building of those roles so you can afford 5 weeks, or is it just a byproduct of growing a business?
I think it's a bit of both. A bit of both, yeah. I mean, I know quite a lot of people who've got their own businesses and they can't do that. And a lot of the time they moan about the people that they've got working for them, and it's like, well, do something about it then.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people I know who've not thought about succession planning. You know, so they've come to, let's say they're in their mid to late 50s, and they're stressed to the max. They're probably making a fair bit of money, but it's kind of like, okay, so you're 55 years old now. Your body's not going to last forever. You're not 25 anymore. Think about people that we know, and there's people I know my age that aren't here anymore.
Right.
So you do become aware of your own mortality. But these people are still going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it's like, hold on a minute, you need to put plans in place. Have you got anybody in your business that you would trust? If you gave them the company checkbook. And not many of them can say yes. So that's where I feel, whether it's luck or whether it's good judgment, you know, subconscious good judgment of picking the right people, I don't know, and I don't care. But I feel lucky that that's the way it's worked out for me.
That's good. I can't remember what, I think it was a book or a podcast that I heard it in, but there's sort of that phrase that a business isn't really a business unless the owner was away and it could carry on with that is almost, that was a definition of what a business is. Otherwise it's a freelancer working with a load of people. And I've something we've been really trying to grow within ARC as well. If I'm away, or you know, if I was ill or whatever else, it would carry on. And I'm confident of that with the team that we've built, the structure of the team.
Here's a question to you though. Imagine you tomorrow, you go, you just think, okay, I'm going to take 6 weeks off. Would you feel guilty in that 6 weeks?
Oh, completely. Yeah, I feel guilty all the time.
I do.
If to be honest though, and I'm sure the team who are behind the camera would testify, I do go on more than my fair share of breaks. But I feel guilty every single time I go. I do know. I'm always, I mean, you're saying about switching off the tech and everything else. I'm terrible at that.
See, I'm okay at that. But there again, I'm kind of known both at work and in various other sort of circles that I mix around in. I'm known as like the Luddite. Do you know what I mean? Because tech to me, I mean, my phone's an iPhone SE.
Okay,
and tiny computer, and they all take the mick out of it. You know, it's like writing on a piece of slate, and I don't care.
That's where you're at with it.
I'm okay with that. But there are things at work where I know that I'm not up to speed with the tech. But I'm quite happy with that because I can just not do it when I'm away. You know, I love things. Let's say at the weekend. I mean, this weekend I'm building a brick wall.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to it. Because it's something. It's like Jeremy Clarkson when he's on the farm thing. He goes, I've done a thing. It's like this weekend I'm gonna do a thing.
I've got into that mentality since we bought the building that we're in now. Doing a bit of DIY. Particularly, what I love about it is I'm doing it with my dad. So my dad's 74, is retired. He's always been practical and hands-on with everything. He built this studio that.
Are you useless at putting a shelf up?
I'm not now. I was, but he's taught me all of this.
But it's special time between you and your dad,
it is,
isn't it?
It's really good, and it's been really good bonding. But I think it's the fact that you come out, you have an output, like you say. You built a wall. That wall's your wall. You built it. You know, this studio has got a lot of hours in it, and you know, we put all the curtains up, all the ceiling tiles, and made it into a studio. I love that now, and I think that's perhaps something that the video business couldn't give me, because it's like you make a video and you hand the video to someone. But it's not the same as a physical thing for me.
Absolutely.
I mean, I suppose, is that the same with what you do?
It is. I get joy from making stuff myself. I mean, we live in an old house, and half of it, well, not half of it, a good chunk of it was at risk of falling down about 2 or 3 years ago. So we got that sorted, and out of that came a load of old 500-year-old oak that was manky and soaking wet and rotten and this, that, and the other. And instead of it disappearing on a truck to God knows where, I went, no, I'll keep that. Thinking I'm going to use it for something. Don't know what yet, but there's something intrinsically of value that I can do there. And I've made, I don't know, 20, 30, more than that, table lamps
Okay.
by just chopping them and then carving them in different ways. But knowing that that is that old is lovely. So look at it thinking, that's older than America. That wood was older than William Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know, this was a little sapling long before he was born. And you look at that and think, that's just interesting. That is.
Yeah.
And then using that and creating something out of it. I mean, you could say it's 500-year-old recycling in an odd way.
Yeah.
But I sell those.
That's cool.
And I don't sell them for a lot of money, but it's the excitement is thinking, I've taken that and I've changed it to be that somebody wants.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely thing, that is.
Nice.
So our house has got, it's full of them. They're everywhere. But they fit, you know.
Yeah. So what does succession planning look like for you? Are you like planning an exit at some point and the business carries on, or have you thought that?
Yes.
Do you think it through?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are plans in place for that, and it's for people at PhD to basically carry the baton forward.
Okay.
You know, at some point I'm going to slow down, and at some point I'll exit stage left.
Yeah.
And it should carry on, and I want it to carry on. And it may be that they want me to carry on. It may be that they don't want me to carry on. Who knows? But it'd be lovely for when I'm 70, 75 to be able to know that it's still going, that legacy. That would be ace, that would.
Yeah.
You know, I could look back on my career and my life then and think, you know what? You ain't done too bad.
Yeah.
If you've created something out of nothing that's employing people now, you know, people are employed by that principle.
Yeah.
And hopefully I've done it without being an arsehole. Hopefully. That'll be my strap line there. Hopefully I've done it without being an arsehole.
So obviously you've seen massive evolution in what you do, literally from drawing it, from a license to use a machine to do it. What's the future then? Because obviously AI is here now and everyone keeps saying about how it's going to change our world so quickly. I mean, what AI is what you do? Is it a threat? Do you see it still having the needed human touch?
No, I don't see it as a threat. I really don't. I see it as a bit daunting. You know, the bigger picture, you could go to the dystopian world of thinking, you know, the likes of Elon Musk are going to be like a Bond villain and rule the world and send the aliens in. You know, you can go that far if you want to. But AI, as it is daunting, but I think we've got no choice. We've got to adapt to it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to replace us. Because, I mean, we had a project, only this year, where we saw some AI stuff that the client had created through, whether it's ChatGPT or whatever, I don't know, don't care where it came from. And you look at it and think, well, it wasn't actually, you know, the first visual impression of that isn't bad. But then you just scratch the surface of it and you think, well, that's just like scraping something off the internet and cobbling together this bit and that bit and that bit and that bit. And it creates almost the right thing. And it's almost good.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's no strategy behind that.
No.
There's no planning behind that. There's no forethought of where it's going to go. And there's also down to practical things. You know, it may be that this ChatGPT or whatever it is has created it as a JPEG in pixels. Now, we understand pixels, you understand pixels, we understand vectors and different ways of doing it. And you need to create things out of a multiple different set of formats.
Yeah.
But whereas if you do it in AI, you'll probably get one, and it'll probably be crap resolution, which is as useful as a chocolate teapot. So it's good for some things, and it's good for perhaps creating different thoughts, different directions of creative thought for designers. But it's never going to replace the designer, because you also need to have human interaction. You know, if you look back at communication, when I started in this, you'd go to a customer meeting and you'd be doing this, and you'd sit across the table and you could see their whole body, and that would communicate to you so many things. You're doing it now. We're all doing it subliminally now. You know, whether you've got any beads of sweat on your forehead, whether you keep fidgeting, whether you keep touching your nose, whether your eyes are watering, all these kind of things give you subliminal communication. Now, the communication between human beings talking about work or business or social, it's very different. Quite often you're looking at your phone and you've got like a 6-inch screen, and all you're seeing is sometimes not even the face, because people, how many times have you had it where they don't put the bloody camera on?
For knowing.
So they don't want to communicate. So you chop off that level of communication, body language, you don't see it. Smell, you don't see it.
Mm.
Eye movement, you don't see it that much. Fidgeting, you don't see it. So we're left with probably 10% of the communication that we used to have.
Yeah.
All through technical advancements. And I say that phrase advisedly.
Right.
So there are things that are not good for the communication of human beings. And that's where designers can really buck that trend, because we can go, no, screw all that shit. Let's talk to the person, ask them really probing questions, and then ask them again, and then ask them again, and then keep asking until that person can answer them. Because so many people don't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, we deal with clients all day long and go, well, okay, who's your audience? Don't know. What do you want to do? Want to get more business? Oh, no shit, Sherlock. Well, there's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you've got to try and be a bit awkward, be a bit belligerent, but do it with authority, that they actually know that you've done it before and that you can do it again. But you've just got to work as a collaborative team to go, right, just tell us what you want. Tell us who your audience is. What's the demographic? Are they old? Are they young? Do they like this? Do they watch football? Do they watch rugby? Have they got dogs? Have they got a house? Is it in the country? Do they like a flat? Do they want to go out and get mashed up every weekend?
Yeah.
Or do they want to go for a local pub and have a pint with a pie? You've got to work out who your audience is.
Yeah.
And also, you've got to find out why they should give a shit about you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know that, you're not really going very far. So, and AI can't do that.
No.
That's down to the person, that's down to the human, and it's down to a really clever, intelligent, and courageous, I think, designer to pull all that information out of people.
Yeah.
Here's an example. We did a job a few years ago with a company, very IT savvy company, and they needed to present what they do in a way that CEOs of lots of different places all over the world would understand.
Right.
And our logic with that, because we've got a great relationship with this client, our logic is you're there, you understand all the nuances and technical details of your solution, and it's great, but it's bloody boring because nobody else understands it and nobody else cares.
Yeah.
The CEOs that you're aiming at here, they don't understand it and they don't care.
No.
So you need to couch whatever the benefits of this are in language that they get. Because if they're making the decision, that's who you need to tailor this thing to. So we changed the way they were going to do this thing. The nub of it is the way we changed it meant that they delivered it in a lot less slides and they delivered it with passion. And it spoke to these people, these C-suite people. Hey, presto, they got big deals, big 6-figure deals off it. And not because of us, but I think the way we went about it was a very good way to open the door to get those people, those CEOs in that room, to not fall asleep.
Yes.
And to get them going, bloody hell, that's interesting. I want to know a bit more about that. So it worked. And that's just because we're just belligerent. We don't give up.
Yeah.
You know, we keep pressing the buttons.
Excellent. So was there a time, Pete, when you thought you'd almost made it?
Yeah.
Go on.
This was before PhD.
Right.
And we'd created, invented, designed, and patented a product that you will have owned.
Okay.
Guarantee you will have owned one of these things.
Right.
The guys behind the camera, maybe not. CD players in your car, right? You will have had one at some point. Yeah. Nobody has them now because everything's on Spotify, etc.
Yeah.
But a CD player in the car, that came after tape cassettes, a CD there. So you'd have all your CDs at home.
Yeah.
And then you want to go somewhere, or you want to go to a party or something like that. So you take all these jewel boxes, because that's what they were all called, and they'd break, on the hinges, etc.
Yeah.
So you probably had one of these little, almost like a Filofax for CDs, where it's like zip, and you shove them all into the little sleeves, and it goes in the door pocket, and then you can flip it out and stick that one in.
Yeah.
That.
Right.
We designed that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And we got a worldwide patent on that thing.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And we went down to London to see a guy named Chris Wright, who owned Chrysalis Music. Probably still does if you're still around.
Yeah.
And a few others, to put it out on a worldwide marketing license. And he was really interested.
Right.
So it's going and sitting in front of effectively Simon Cowell of the time.
Yeah.
What an impressive office. My God, I still remember it to the day. But we came back at the motorway thinking, right, M3? Porsche? Because he was going to send the heads of terms back like the next day, which would basically mean he takes it on and we get royalties forever. And it was going to be big dough.
Yeah.
So literally driving back, we drove back the motorway M6 from London on a cloud
Yeah. Yeah.
and thinking, what am I going to buy?
Yeah.
Shall I buy a house in Greece?
Yeah.
All these things, because it
Yeah.
was going to happen.
Right.
And it never did.
Yeah.
It just never came. And they ghosted us from that point
Oh,
onwards.
they just goes.
Yeah, it just ghosted us.
Did somebody rip it off or anything?
Oh, yeah, well, you've seen them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
A company called Case Logic have
Right.
bought, they've probably sold billions of these
Yeah.
things.
Right.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that was part of the collapse
Yeah.
just before I started PhD.
Okay.
So,
Right.
yeah. So that was one of those ones where I thought, I'm here. I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm king of Great Bar, but not.
I mean, the final question then, just to wrap up. So, so you've been doing this for 34 years.
Yeah.
You've seen lots of change. You've employed lots of people. You've had lots of successes, lots of trying times as well.
Yeah.
What's the sort of one message that you'd pass on to somebody who's perhaps just starting a business or a young CEO that's coming through?
Know your numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's two things: know your numbers and be more nice.
Okay.
There's three. Each of them is 3 words. That's not planned. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you're nice, people are just nice to you. Generally, you
Yeah.
know, if you're an arsehole, people are arseholes to you.
Yeah.
Just be more nice, and you will get better results in life in every way. But know your numbers. There's so many people that don't know the numbers. You know, they don't know what the turnover, they don't know what the gross profit is,
Yeah.
they don't know what the VAT bill's going to be.
No.
We employed a very simple principle on day one,
Mm-hmm.
and that was we opened up half a dozen bank accounts,
Right.
and every time any money came into the bank, the main bank for payment for a job, we squirreled a bit of it in that one, a bit of it in that one, a bit straight away, because I know that main account, that's the one I look at.
Yes.
And if there's a load in there, you'll think, well, hey, we're laughing.
Yeah.
Whereas if I can do that, I know that everything is already allocated.
Yeah.
So, for instance, the VAT,
Yeah.
I don't care what the VAT bill is.
No,
Don't
because
matter.
you've moved it off on the day you get the money.
Within 100 quid or two,
Yeah.
that's going to be enough to do it. So, yeah, know your numbers, be more nice. That will serve you really well, really well.
Well, thanks, Pete, for coming in. Much appreciated.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Yeah, you too.
So thank you for joining us for this episode of The Reluctant CEO, and we'll see you again next time.